So Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by my good friend and former British, Commonwealth, European super welterweight champion. That's what we have to call it these days. Wayne
Yeah.
Alexander. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Danny. I'm good. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good
Just coming
stuff.
off
Good stuff.
a big night in Riyadh, yet another
Yeah.
big night in Riyadh. Seen a lot of your comments on social media about it. I think what's your catchphrase? Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one,
Here's mine.
especially with the internet now. I mean, it's a good thing and also a bad thing because everyone's an expert. Everyone's an expert. You got guys that don't really know a lot about the game, but through the internet, they can voice an opinion, which is fair enough. But the real fans know the situation of the fight the other day. It was a close fight. The main event was a close fight. You got people saying that Usyk was robbed or even Fury was robbed. It was a close fight. Every round was close. Every round was 10-9. Some could have been a draw. Um, like I stated earlier on, I watched it again the following day yesterday and scored it round by round. And a couple of rounds could have been 10-10. But I don't like giving draws. Even when I judge, I don't really like giving draws because I was told Wayne somebody had to win that. Somebody must have won. You know what I mean? Like giving a draw is like a way out. So a couple of rounds could have been a draw, but like the first round, people are saying Usyk and Fury, but I thought Fury won the first round. But some are saying Usyk. Some give it a draw. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think a lot of the like governing bodies and stuff like that encourage judges not to score even rounds. Like it's supposed to be
yeah,
an absolute last resort.
yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, like I said, when I score bouts, I really, really give a draw. Sometimes it's so hard. You feel like if you give it if you don't give a draw and the other person's won it by a split, you feel a bit bad for them, don't you? So sometimes you know what, just call it a draw because I don't want to upset anybody really when it's so tight. Do you know what I mean?
So when you watched the fight the first time live, you said you didn't score it round by round then, but when the fight ended, what was your impression? Who did you think had come out on top?
My impression was that Fury won it. Fury nicked it. Honestly, I thought he just about nicked it. Um, Maybe a part of me wanted him to win because he's a British fighter. I like Fury. Even I like Usyk as well. But maybe a part of me was thinking like, it'd be good for British boxing. For him to be the world champion and then he could fight all the other Brits. And it was a close fight. The first half of the fight was very close. I mean, he won probably four of the first six. So yeah, my initial thoughts was Fury nicked it. He's just nicked it.
And then you watched it back, you said the next day and scored it round by round. How did
Yeah.
that change things? What was your score in the end?
My score was 7 rounds to 5 to Usyk. Um, I think the last 5 rounds, he won four of them with the cleaner shots. And like, he just looked more dominant. Watching it on the replay, he looked more dominant throughout the whole fight. He looked more in control throughout the whole fight. But I can see how on the night a judge will score it differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, having to watch it the second time is a good opportunity. But I think the right man won the fight. You know, Usyk, like he dominated it more and looked more in control, a lot more comfortable in the whole 12 rounds.
And as you said on your initial viewing, Fury won four of the first six. When you watched
Yeah,
it back, you saw Usyk closing it out much
yeah.
stronger. What changed the kind of midway point of the fight that stopped Fury being a dominant force and switched to Usyk? What were the things that changed?
I think Usyk's mindset, like people say, is very good at changing the direction of the fight. He's got such a good boxing brain. Like he can adapt. When he knows he's maybe a little step behind, he can step up, can't he? That's what makes him he's so great. I think he knew that he was maybe like maybe losing the fight and stepped up a little bit. And also Fury started to tire. In the second half, Fury started to tire a bit.
Yeah, I mean, how much of it it's hard to say, I suppose. But how much of it do you feel Usyk won the fight, and how much do you feel Fury lost the fight?
Good question. I think looking at the replay, I think Usyk won it because the way he stepped up and showed his class. He was landing good body shots, which showed that the judges appreciated that because a lot of them don't appreciate body shots, do they? He was landing clean shots to the body. So I think more so Usyk won it, but also Tyson tied. So you could say a part of him lost it as well because he did tire a bit. He did show that he fatigued a bit more than
And
Usyk.
from what his team said, he worked incredibly hard in camp, maybe more so for this one than the first one. He was able to spar
Yeah.
extensively this time, whereas the cut stopped him the first time round. Is it just a case of when you get to, that age as a heavyweight and you've had a lot of hard fights as well, so he's not fresh? It's just you will lose that step. You will be a bit more tired in the later rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, wear and tear, mate. He's not the best liver, is he? He admits that. We all know the history. And as you said, as you get older, you slow down a bit. Your endurance, your stamina, your chin. You slow down. Usyk is the opposite. He's a good liver, isn't he? He lives good. He trains well in between fights. So it takes his toll, doesn't it? As you get older, if you don't live the life, you get found out.
And now they're talking about the future for both men. Usyk was confronted after his victory by Daniel Dubois in the ring, who wants to have another undisputed fight. Will be another one for
Yeah.
Usyk. Daniel hasn't had one yet. Although Daniel's got to get past Joseph Parker first in February. What would you like to see Usyk do now? Some people have suggested he's done everything he can, so he should retire. He's talked about moving back down to cruiserweight, maybe. What would you like to see?
Do you know what? That's a difficult one because part of me says retire. He's done it all, hasn't he? He's done it all. He's achieved everything a boxer would, love to achieve, isn't he? Amateur and pro. He's done it all. He's beaten the best of the best at cruiserweight and heavyweight. But being ex-fighter myself, it's hard to say no, isn't it? What do you do afterwards? That would be a big a big bit a lot of pressure for him to think about what he's going to do when he retires. What do I do now? When it's all over. He loves the game. He loves being number one. So a part of me says retire, and a part of me says, you know what, take the Dubai fight, and prove to the world that you are number one because it was controversial, wasn't it, the way it ended. So just prove that you are the number one and maybe retire after that. He's beaten AJ twice and Fury twice. Who else has he got to beat?
Well, yeah, I mean, Dubois is the only kind of sellable one at
Yeah,
heavyweight, I
that's
think,
it.
now, because of how the first fight ended. Because Dubois has beaten Joshua quite dominantly in the interim as well.
Yeah,
You could kind of sell that fight, I suppose.
yeah, that's why I believe. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's no point in fighting AJ again, is there? I mean, even if AJ does come back and do well, I don't think he needs to fight AJ again. And like you say, he's done all he can do, hasn't he? He's proven he's the best in the world, and rather than maybe having a slip up and getting beat by somebody that he shouldn't be, what I mean, like and becoming contender, get out now while you're on top.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're probably right. And then you've got Fury. There was a lot of talk in the build-up that if Fury lost to Usyk for a second time, an AJ fight would happen in 2025. We spoke to, or Josh, my colleague, spoke to Gareth A. Davis, the journalist,
Yeah.
earlier today, and he said he's not really that excited now about Fury against Joshua because they're both coming off, fairly clear defeats. What's your view on it? Is it a fight you'd still like to see?
Nah, I mean I'd watch it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's well overdue. It's well past its sell-by date now, isn't it? Both of them are past their best. Have had defeats, and it's a money-making fight for them both. They'll still make a lot of money, but to me it's a bit of a pointless fight, isn't it? Really, no one's got nothing to offer, have they? None of them are champions.
Fair enough. Did you watch the undercard on Saturday?
I watched most of it. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
What did you make of Serhij Bohachuk, who competes in your old division, super welterweight, beat Ishmael Davis, who came in on short notice?
he looked good. He looked strong. Look at him physically. He doesn't look much, does he? Doesn't look much. You know what I mean? but he's strong. He's typical Ukraine, isn't he? Good stamina, fit. You know, doesn't look $1 million, but he does the job, doesn't he? He gets the job done. Solid,
Yeah.
a solid all round fighter.
He reminded me a bit of do you remember Lucas Konechny?
I must admit, no, I don't, I don't,
He was I can't remember, was he Czech maybe? Something like that. But he came over here, he beat Matthew Hall. And I think Matthew Hall
uh,
was expected to win, and Konechny came over. It might have been for the European title, and he busted him up.
you
And
know
he
what? I
was,
don't remember him.
oh yeah, but very similar, like unassuming to look at,
That's it.
very
Yeah, yeah,
tidy, very effective, constant pressure.
yeah.
And then you've got Golovkin, who looks, like a maths teacher and fights like a warrior. So
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, you
That's
got a,
it.
you got a pattern there. There were two other big heavyweight fights on the show as well. One of them attracted a lot of controversy in that vast majority of people thought Dave Allen had done enough to beat Johnny Fisher, having scored a knockdown on the way, but the decision went Fisher's way. Well, what did you make of that?
Right. I had Fisher winning the first 4 rounds. He lost the fifth round, and he obviously by 2 points. He lost round 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th was even. So I had Allen winning it by two
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 points.
points. Yeah, two
Yeah.
points. You know, I felt sorry for Dave Allen. You know what I mean? I had him getting stopped early before the fight. I had him getting stopped early, and he proved that he's still a force at domestic level. And yeah, I think Fisher should rematch him. Maybe not his next fight, but have a fight again and prove that he was an off night. But Dave Allen, he done well.
Yeah, I had it very similar to you. I think I gave Johnny Fisher the last round, so I had Allen winning by one
Okay.
point. But I think Allen kind of gave Johnny Fisher the last round as well by not
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
much. But yeah, I thought he clearly won the fight. So yeah, hopefully that rematch happens. The teams have said that it's likely to happen. I don't know if it will be next.
yeah. I mean, like, it seemed like Allen could have done more. I mean, like, they're friends, isn't they? You know what I mean? They got a lot of respect for each other. It seemed like at certain times Allen, didn't really want to do too much damage. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like even after the fight, he wasn't too upset about the defeat. Initially, he was surprised, but then like when I see him getting interviewed 10 minutes later, he was like, "Oh, we're not seeing." You know what I mean? Like, I wish you all the best. He didn't seem too upset for long.
Well, hopefully he gets a chance to kind of put it right in the rematch and, on another big Riyadh season show, big payday, hopefully for him.
Yeah,
Another heavyweight that's attracted a lot of attention on the night and since the night is Moses Itauma, who destroyed Dempsey McKean, who wasn't expected to win, but was expected to give Itauma rounds, force him to think a bit more. Um, just an incredible performance from him, and he's still only 19 years old. How impressed were you by Moses?
very impressed. I remember last week looking at McKean on YouTube and seeing what he's all about, and I thought he's pretty decent. He can hold his hands up. You know what I mean? He'll give just a hard fight. I thought he'd give him a hard fight, and I was very impressed with the stoppage. He's very explosive, and his speed. Is what excels the most. Speed is power, isn't it? Very very fast. He was throwing the right jabs to the body and left over the top, and yeah, I was very impressed with him. He's one to watch for definite, definite.
Great stuff, mate. Really appreciate it. I hope you have a great Christmas with your
And
kids
you, and you,
and New Year, obviously. And yeah, let's catch up again in January.
definitely, definitely. Thanks for having me, and Merry Christmas to everybody watching. Take
Anytime,
care.
mate. Take care, mate.
Brilliant, Dan.
Speak soon.
Bye, bye,
Bye.
bye.